The hall was radiant. White roses adorned every table, soft violins whispered from hidden speakers, and the sparkle from the crystal chandeliers reflected off my sister's diamond engagement ring. Everyone in the hall was smiling, toasting, and congratulating one another. Everyone, except me. I sat at the far corner of the room, alone, sipping warm water from a glass. Not because I wasn't invited to celebrate. I was her sister after all, older by 2 years. But in this family, that meant very little. My mother, elegantly dressed in a golden lace gown, floated around the room like royalty. Her eyes scanned faces like a hawk, searching for anything beneath perfection. She lived for appearances. And tonight, she had orchestrated her masterpiece, her youngest daughter's engagement to the son of a renowned Lagos politician. The groom-to-be Chibuzo was charming in a polished kind of way, flashy, flirtatious, and utterly fake. But that didn't matter to my mother. He was rich, and that meant status. I looked down at my phone, swiping away the unopened message from Dare, my fiancé. I had told him not to come yet. I wasn't ready. This was my sister's night, not mine. But something about the way my mother looked at me when she passed my table made my heart clench. She stopped, glass of champagne in hand, her smile still painted but her voice as sharp as ever. "Zara," she said with a sigh, "how is it that your younger sister is getting married before you?" I didn't answer. She leaned down slightly. "You see, dear, beauty fades. And attitude? It keeps men far away. I warned you, didn't I? Always too opinionated, too proud. Men don't marry women like that. They only enjoy them." Her words sliced through me like a cold blade. The nearby guests laughed. None of them hurt her. But I did. And so did my sister, Adiz, who glanced at me from the center of the dance floor with a mix of pity and embarrassment. I clenched my fists under the tablecloth. This wasn't new. My mother had always favored Adiz. She was obedient, soft-spoken, and traditionally beautiful, lighter skin, straight hair, the kind of girl aunties praised in church. I was the stubborn one, the one who pursued law instead of settling early, the one who refused to marry the pastor's son because I found out he had a mistress. But tonight wasn't about rivalry. Or so I thought, until the microphone was handed to my mother. She took center stage, smiling as if she were the bride. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, "thank you all for joining us in celebrating this beautiful union between my daughter and the Chakuma family. Adiz has always been our angel. Respectful. A blessing. Unlike," she paused, smirking, "some other daughters who keep us waiting for any news, any hope, of even a man." Laughter rippled through the room. Polite. Shallow. But intentional. My skin burned. She continued. "Adiz will bring us honor, just like her father always wanted. And well, I'll finally have grandbabies. God is good." More applause. My heart pounded. I stood slowly. Everyone's eyes shifted toward me. I walked to the center of the room, heels clicking against the tiled floor. Calmly, with a smile I had perfected during courtroom arguments, I took the second mic. My mother looked confused. "I wasn't planning to say anything tonight," I began, voice clear and steady. "But I suppose it's fitting that I do." The crowd quieted. I turned toward my sister. "Adiz, congratulations. You deserve happiness. Truly. And I wish you joy." Then I turned to my mother. "But since this night has turned into a parade of comparisons and insults, perhaps I should clarify a few things." Gasps echoed. "You see," I said, raising my chin, "while you've been mocking me for not having a man, I've been building a life. Quietly. Intentionally. And yes, I am engaged. Not to a politician's son or some family friend you'd approve of. But to a man who sees me, fully. Who respects me. Who values my mind." I looked toward the entrance and gestured. The doors opened. Dare walked in, dressed in a sharp black suit, confidence in every step. He wasn't flashy. He wasn't famous. But he was mine. A murmur passed through the crowd. "And not only that," I continued, "we're getting married next month. But I didn't invite you to the announcement. Because I wasn't sure if family would celebrate or criticize." My mother's face was frozen, eyes wide. Oh, and one more thing, I added, voice firm. This engagement isn't the only news tonight. I turned toward the table where a man in a gray suit had been quietly seated. He stood and made his way to the front. This is Mr. Alyamide Ajayi, my lawyer. Now the room was silent. I have legally acquired the property in Lekki you've been renting out in my late father's name, I said calmly, because, contrary to what you've been telling people, I was listed as a co-heir in his will. You tried to hide that from me. My mother staggered slightly. Yes, I said. I found out. I investigated. And I used the law degree you once called a waste of bride price to claim what was rightfully mine. The guests murmured louder now. From now on, the rent from that property will go toward a scholarship fund. For girls in our village who want to study law. Girls who, like me, were told they were too loud, too stubborn, too smart. I handed the microphone back to the stunned MC and took Dare's hand. The music hadn't resumed. The crowd didn't applaud. They just stared, caught between admiration and discomfort. As I walked out of the hall, my mother's voice broke behind me. You dare humiliate me like this? In front of everyone? I turned back just once. No, Mama, I said softly. I dared to reclaim my dignity. In front of everyone. The morning after the engagement party felt like the eye of a storm. Silent. Suspended. Dangerous. Zara sat by the window of Dare's apartment in Ikoyi, watching the city buzz beneath her while her thoughts spiraled. Her phone buzzed with missed calls and messages, most of them from her mother, a few from her aunties, and one chilling voice note from Adiz. You humiliated Mum. Whatever issues you had with her, did you really need to do it like that? On my night. Zara closed her eyes. She had expected anger. But from Adiz, disappointment felt like a deeper betrayal. Dare walked in, holding 2 mugs of tea. He placed one beside her and rubbed her shoulder gently. You okay? I don't know, she whispered. Did I go too far? No, Dare said calmly. You spoke your truth. Your mother made that stage public. You just responded in the same space. Zara sighed, sipping the tea. She had rehearsed that moment in her mind 1,000 times over the years, when her mother would finally be forced to see her not as a mistake, but as someone worthy. But even now, she wasn't sure if she felt victorious or just hollow. Her thoughts were interrupted by a sharp knock on the door. Dare glanced at her, then opened it. Standing there, dressed in a silk wrapper and a furious expression, was her mother. Zara stood up slowly. Can I come in? Her mother asked, though it sounded more like a command. Zara hesitated, then nodded. Her mother stepped inside, ignoring Dare completely. Her eyes locked on Zara. You embarrassed me, she snapped. You humiliated this family in front of people who matter. People who matter? Zara echoed. So, my dignity doesn't? Her mother waved her off. You could have told me privately. But no, you wanted to show the whole world that you're smart. That you've won. Zara's voice was calm. I didn't want to win, Mama. I wanted peace. But every time I stayed silent, you took another piece of me. Her mother's lips trembled, but not with sadness, with pride wounded beyond repair. You always believed you were better than the rest of us. Law school made you arrogant, unmarried, alone. And now, just because you found a man, you think you can rewrite the rules. Dare stepped forward gently. Ma, with all due respect. She held up her hand. Don't speak to me. You're part of the problem. Zara stepped between them. I didn't come to your house to shame you, she said firmly. But you've shamed me for years. Do you remember what you said after Papa died? That I was a burden with nothing to offer? That I'd end up teaching in a government school, bitter and unmarried. Her mother's face stiffened. I remember everything, Zara whispered. And yet, I kept coming to every family gathering, every event. Hoping, praying you'd see me. Just once. There was silence. Then her mother said something Zara didn't expect. You remind me of your father. Zara blinked. He was stubborn, proud, always arguing, always chasing truth instead of peace. Her voice softened slightly. He loved you. Too much, maybe. That's why I hated it. He saw in you what he saw in himself. Zara didn't speak. Her mother's voice trembled now, not from rage, but something closer to confession. He was supposed to write you out of the will, she said. But he refused. Said you earned your share. Zara felt her throat tighten. So you tried to erase me, she whispered. I tried to protect the legacy, her mother snapped back. You don't understand the pressure. The community. The image. Zara turned toward her. Maybe I never will. But I won't live under that weight anymore. Her mother looked at her, really looked at her, for the first time in years. But it was brief. I won't forgive this, she said finally. Not now. Then she turned and left, the door clicking shut behind her. Zara exhaled slowly, feeling something inside her break and heal at the same time. Dare wrapped his arms around her. You didn't lose anything, he whispered. You're finding yourself. She nodded, tears falling quietly. The path ahead was uncertain. Family bonds had been scorched. But in the ashes, something else was growing. Freedom. Weeks passed. The social media buzz died down. The whispers at church faded. But the silence between Zara and Adiz lingered. They hadn't spoken since the engagement party. Not even once. Zara had buried herself in work, preparing for a big court case involving a land dispute that reminded her too much of her own past. Her heart ached, not just from her mother's rage, but from the loss of a sister who had once been her best friend. Then, on a rainy Saturday afternoon, a knock came at the door. She opened it to find Adiz standing there. No makeup, no fancy clothes, just a simple t-shirt and jeans, and eyes full of something Zara hadn't seen in a long time, guilt. I brought Puff Puff, Adiz said, holding up a plastic bag with a weak smile. Zara stepped aside without a word. They sat together on the couch in silence, the rain pattering gently against the windows. After a long pause, Adiz spoke. I'm sorry. Zara looked at her. I was angry, Adiz continued. Not because of what you did, but I let myself become part of it. I let her compare us. I let her turn me into the golden child because it was easier than standing up to her. I know, she whispered. That night, I saw your strength, and I hated it because it reminded me of everything I was too afraid to be. Zara took her sister's hand. We were both trapped in the same house, just in different cages. Adiz's voice cracked. I'm scared of marrying Chibuzo. Zara stiffened. I thought he was the right choice. Mom approved. He's rich, well-connected, but he treats me like a trophy. I can't breathe around him. He decides everything, even what I wear. Zara's voice was gentle. Then don't marry him. Adiz stared at her. What? You still have a choice, Zara said. It'll cost you. But freedom always does. Adiz buried her face in her hands. She'll disown me. She already did that to me, Zara replied. And I'm still standing. They sat in silence again. Zara? Adiz asked finally. How did you know Dare was the one? Zara smiled softly. Because he loved me, not the version my mother wanted me to be. He didn't see my strength as a threat. He saw it as a reason to love me more. Adiz nodded, tears trailing down her cheeks. You deserve that too, Zara said. That night, Adiz broke off her engagement. It was messy, but explosive. Their mother threatened to cut her off, claimed she had been bewitched by her rebellious sister. But Adiz didn't back down. In the weeks that followed, Adiz moved into a small apartment of her own. She took time off from work. She cried. She healed. She started therapy. And slowly she started building her own identity, apart from her mother's image of her. As for Zara, she and Dare married in a quiet ceremony by the beach. No glamour, no press, no hundreds of guests, just love, laughter, and a few close friends. Adiz stood beside her as her maid of honor. Their mother didn't attend. Not out of pride, but because she still hadn't forgiven them. And that was okay. Because for the first time in their lives, both sisters felt truly free. Zara's story isn't just one of rebellion, it's one of reclamation. She reclaimed her voice, her power, and her peace. In a society where women are often pitted against each other, especially in the eyes of family and culture, she proved that worth isn't measured by marriage timelines or appearances. It's found in authenticity. Sometimes, standing up for yourself isn't about proving others wrong, it's about proving to yourself that you were right all along. And in doing so, you give others, like Adiz, the courage to do the same.